to ask the Minister if he will designate the 16th of June as a national holiday to celebrate the great literary tradition here. The Deputy's 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Laskin Corla. Minister, as you well know, today is Bloomsday, the 16th of June, and it's the annual occasion when Ireland celebrates its giant of Irish literature, James Joyce. And it was started in the 1950s by a number of Joycean scholars and enthusiasts to commemorate that famous day in 1904 when Leopold Bloom, the hero of Ulysses' most famous work, of Ulysses, which is Joyce's most famous work, spent the entire day walking around the streets of Dublin. And also, of course, that day is the day when Joyce first walked out, as it was known then, with Nora Barnacle, the love of his life and the woman he was to marry and go into exile. In 1924, 10 years, or rather 20 years after that occasion, Joyce himself wrote, "Today is 16th of June 1924, 20 years after, will anyone remember this date?" Well, of course, they certainly did. So the celebration of this iconic day now takes place in over 16 countries around the world annually. And it starts with a Joycean breakfast of, quote, inner organs of beasts and fowls, including grilled mutton kidneys with a fine tang of faintly scented urine, end of quote. And of course, there are readings and productions of Joyce's works and tours throughout the city of Dublin as part of the festival. Tonight, for example, I will be attending the Joycean Music and Song Fest in the Teachers' Club in Parnell Square, and Deputy Ferris tells me that there's a day-long festival in Bray, which he will be going to after this, and I'm sure every other deputy, I shouldn't say just in the house here, but throughout the house, in Dublin in particular, would have various locations where there are celebrations of Joycean's works as well. Yesterday, the most valuable prize in the world, and I attended the ceremony in the Mansion House. The Impact Award, Literary Award, was presented to Colin McCann, and this was done largely through the good office of Dublin City Council, which is very much supportive of literature and the arts generally. Dublin last year was designated the UNESCO City of Literature, which is a permanent designation. And as we all know, Dublin is the home to so many great writers, as is the country, not just Dublin. Between Dublin and the country, we have a host and a rich tradition of writing. I believe that the extraordinary literary tradition of this country should be marked by an annual public holiday around which a major national and international festival of literature could be developed. We have only 9 public holidays, the least number in Europe apart from England and Wales, which have 8, and Germany, which is regarded to be the great workhorse of Europe, has 14 public holidays for its citizens and its workers, yet it can produce a very powerful economy. Northern Ireland has 10, including that rather questionable one on the 12th of July, which is hardly an inclusive public holiday for all the citizens. But indeed, a public holiday to celebrate our literary heritage could in time be extended to Northern Ireland as well, because of its rich literary tradition too. So it could become an all-island festival of literature and culture. Now, the idea of a public holiday on Bloomsday, or for Bloomsday, was first proposed by Joycean scholars in 2004, which was the centenary of Bloomsday. And I think that it's even more appropriate at this particular time because on January the 1st of 2012, the copyright restrictions on Joyce's works will expire. And that means that they will be readily accessible not just to scholars around the world, but will be accessible to all enthusiasts and will be open to use without incurring any penalty or any restriction whatsoever. So the there'll be no charge on publications or performances or readings or adaptations of any of Joyce's works, and that is a problem at the present time. So this is a very appropriate time to look at the breadth and scale of what might be available in relation to a public holiday and a national and international festival. And could I say in conclusion, Laskin Corla, that there is an enormous attraction for international scholars and students, but also that this would be a huge attraction for ordinary tourists, because at this point in time Joyce is in fact a national brand, so to speak. So a festival of literature of this nature would not just be a significant commercial value to the country, but of course it would fulfil its main purpose of commemorating and celebrating our rich literary heritage, and it would be an inspiration to future generations of writers in this country.
Thanks.